Good morning, students. Today, we will discuss about air pollution, which is part of your paper 3 environment, and is one of the most important topic because you know that current trends or the current the most of the concern or the human life is heavily depend on the nature, and the nature we need to protect the nature, and for the what you can say the degradation of the land or all these kind of activities are directly related to the human activities, and especially the air pollution is impacting the human life, right? So for this, what are the types of air, what is air pollution, what are the types of air pollution, and how, what are the mitigation or the what are the steps to mitigate the air pollution, everything we will be discussing. And it is mostly UPSC oriented, and along with the UPSC some TS our state exam like TSPSC, right? Recently మనది తెలంగాణ టిఎస్పిఎస్సి గ్రూప్ 1 అయిపోయింది, right? నెక్స్ట్ మెయిన్స్ ఎవరెవరు రాస్తున్నారో వాళ్ళకి చాలా యూజ్ అవుతుంది. బికాస్ ద ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ విచ్ ఈస్ అవైలబుల్ ఇన్ దీస్ లెక్చర్, ఇట్ ఈస్ వెరీ effective and it is very value addition for your preparation, right? And the people who what you can say having qualifying marks or should having the will qualify in the mains or the prelim in this group 1 TSPSC group 1 should must go through this video, right? So you know that air pollution, it is one of the most important topic, right? So we will discuss one by one what is the air pollution, what are the types of air pollution, everything in detail. And you know that recently we are concluded with this in Egypt COP27, right? For the first time we used the term of loss and damage funding, right? So we will discuss COP26 also. COP26 nothing but Conference of Parties 26, and prior to that we have the Paris Agreement or the Paris Peace Accord. We call it as, right. You know that it is what you can say to reduce or to able to maintain the temperature below 2 degrees of Celsius, right? So if we will discuss all these, right, we will discuss all international institutions or the organizations, their adaptation towards uh, air pollution and India's inventions or India's policies, initiatives, what will be, everything will be discussed one by one, right? So prior to this, just go through the lecture keenly. Don't skip this lecture because if you skip it, you may lose a vast amount of information regarding air pollution, right? It is very important. So go through the what you can say lecture slowly, and you can understand, and we will be able to provide. It will be bilingual mostly. It will be English and it will be Telugu also. And you may not use complete Telugu, but అవసరమైన ప్లేస్ లో అవసరమైన రీ అవసరమైనంత తెలుగు యూజెస్. ఇక్కడ తెలుగు యూజ్ చేయడం మాకు డిఫికల్టీ లెవెల్ అని కాదు, బట్ ఇఫ్ తెలుగు యూజ్ ఎక్కువ చేస్తే ఏమవుతుంది అంటే మీరు మెయిన్స్ ఇంగ్లీష్ లో రాస్తారు. మోస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ద ఆస్పెంట్ 90% ఆఫ్ ద ఆస్పెంట్ విల్ రైట్ ఇన్ ఇంగ్లీష్. సో నేను ఇక్కడ ఎక్కువ తెలుగు యూజ్ చేస్తే ఏమవుతుందంటే మీకు అక్కడ కన్వర్ట్ చేయడానికి, తెలుగు టు ఇంగ్లీష్ కన్వర్ట్ చేయడానికి. బట్ నేను ఇంగ్లీష్ ఇక్కడ లెక్చర్ బైలింగ్వల్ ఇంగ్లీష్ లో అవుతున్నా కానీ ఇంగ్లీష్ లో లేమన్ లాంగ్వేజ్ అంటే నార్మల్ ఇక్కడ ఐఎమ్ నాట్ హియర్ టు షోకేజ్ మై ఇంగ్లీష్ టాలెంట్. ఐఎమ్ హియర్ టు షేర్ ఆర్ వాట్ యూ కెన్ సే డిస్కస్ ద నోన్ టాపిక్ టు యూ విత్ అన్ నార్మల్ లేమన్ లాంగ్వేజ్, రైట్? సో మీకు అర్థమయ్యే విధంగా చాలా లో లెవెల్ ఆఫ్ ఇంగ్లీష్, రైట్? హై క్వాంటిటీ ఎక్స్ప్రెస్ ఇంగ్లీష్ ఆర్ టీవీ ఛానల్ ఇంగ్లీష్ లా కాకుండా నార్మల్ ఇంగ్లీష్ లో మాట్లాడతాను, రైట్? I will discuss in a normal English and Telugu as well as, right? Thank you. Just go like we will begin the lecture on air pollution. So air pollution part of, so this is the concepts or what are the types of, and you can see India where India ranked. And I told you at the beginning of the lesson, beginning of the lecture, one line, right? The people are the most affected, and out of 20 cities, 30 cities are the most polluted cities from India itself, right? And in that, almost six, uh, six, 600 millions of million people, as per the WHO reports, or what you can say, affected or reduced their life in all around 3 years, right? So you can see on the screen, right? You have India most polluted city, India least polluted city, everything we will discuss, right? So, and along with what are the government rules or regulations, and I also told what are the international organizations or what are the international institutions made their right to Kyoto Protocol or the Montreal Protocol, and Indian laws on the air pollution and ways to reduce air pollution. So everything detailedly we will discuss, right? Clear? And first, air is an invisible mixture of gases that surrounds the earth. So it is normal, what I can say, definition only, right? So just go through the definition. It's sometimes if you when you start answer writing, I hope you most of the people started. So starting with the definition, it indicates that you were what you can say starting from the basic, right? So if you directly just if you something like what is the air pollution, what are the uh, consequences need to be faced by the humans? They may be question like this, right? Or they critically examine government initiatives on the air pollution. So in this way, you need to first begin with the definition, or else begin with the simple example or something like okay, right? It will be more fetching marks for your answer writing. Clear? Yeah. And next, you can see the composition of the air. You know that almost 78% of the composition of the air is on what you can say nitrogen, and another 20% is oxygen, and other like near 1% are other gases, right? Just remember, 78% is nitrogen and around 20.9% is oxygen, right? Clear? Next, so you can see what is the pollution or the pollution level. So the pollution is the introduction of harmful material into the environment, right? And harmful materials are called pollutants. So, for example, in the normal atmosphere or the environment, when we use what you can say pollution, maybe vehicular pollution, maybe fossil fuels or burning of fossil fuels or the stubble burning. You know the what is stubble burning, right? Now, Delhi is the most affected because it is a landlocked state. So, due to the stubble burning, Delhi is facing severe, what you can say, severe Delhi is facing severe climate problems, or what you can say, accumulation over the smog, all the issues, right? So for these, just give me a minute. Yeah. So and recently, Haryana and Punjab, Delhi governments, or what you can say, consulting how to mitigate this. What you can say, this stubble burning. They want to spray some what you can say chemicals so that it will be used. So in this way, we are adding pollutants to the environment. Nothing but what you can say, air pollution. So you can see it on the screen, right? In the right way, the polluted, what you can say, Delhi, right? Why we want to take Delhi as an example, in sense, most of the aspirants, what you can say, go for the Delhi for their preparation, and they will observe the drastic, what you can say, climate in the Delhi. And as per the average, if you breathe an air in the Delhi, it is almost equivalent to 14 or the 15 cigarettes. The people who does not have the habit also, if you stay in the Delhi, it is almost so that I'm trying to say that the level of pollution in what you can say in Delhi is very high, right? So you can see on your left side of the screen and right side of the screen, right? It is almost 15 or 20 years back, we have what you can say clear or without pollution. With the day by day increasing the pollution, so you can see the result how it is, right? It is a small fog also and smog we can call it, right? And next we have the Shanghai Towers. Shanghai, you know that it is one of the cities in what you can say in China, it is named one of the organization, intergovernmental organization also there, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, right? So just remember, so you can see, and apart from India, China, few cities from China also in the list of most polluted, right? Clear. And one more thing, Ganga and Yamuna are the most polluted rivers on the globe, right? Okay, maybe due to heavy rapid urbanization and cutting down of the forest for the what you can say for the maybe habitat or for the other development projects, something like that. So day by day we are encroaching or human activities are increasing in the forest areas or the greener areas. So here, especially the Telugu aspirants. So మనం ఏం చేయాలంటే మన స్టేట్ ని వేరే స్టేట్ తో కంపేర్ చేయాలి. Our state, Telangana government has well versed, what you can say, well versed uh, policies, right? Telanganaku Haritaram. We have Telanganaku Haritaram. So planting of what you can say millions of samplings. It is what you can say framed almost 6 years back, 7 years back. It started in 2015. So every year we are planting millions of what you can say sampling. So that is the reason, and the forest covered in what you can say in Telangana also increasing as per the 2021 forest survey. What you can Telangana is the second largest state increasing their forest cover. So slowly we are what you can say, and you know that the national average should be 33%. As of now, Telangana has 24% of forest cover. So it should be the aim of the what you can say Telangana government through this Telangana Ko Haritaram will be 33%, right? So mana schemes, maybe it is Telangana Ko Haritaram, Mission Bhagirath, Mission Kakatiya. So these schemes are very effective in your answers. ఈ స్కీమ్స్ ప్రాపర్ గా ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేసి ఆన్సర్స్ రాస్తే మీకు చాలా వాల్యూ అడిషన్ ఉంటుంది, రైట్? ఎందుకంటే ఎవరైనా జస్ట్ వాట్ యూ కెన్ సే క్వశ్చన్ రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఏముందని జనరల్ గా రాస్తారు. బట్ మీ క్వశ్చన్ కి రిలేటెడ్ స్కీమ్స్ కానీ క్వశ్చన్ కి రిలేటెడ్ ఏమైనా బెస్ట్ రిలేటెడ్ స్కీమ్స్ ఆర్ ఎనీ డెవలప్మెంట్ రాస్తే అది కూడా బికాస్ తెలుగు టిఎస్పిఎస్సి రీజనల్ స్టేట్ ఎగ్జామ్స్ కాబట్టి మనకి ఎక్కువ మార్క్స్ వచ్చే అవకాశం ఉంటుంది. లైక్ ద పీపుల్ హూ ఆర్ preparing for the mains first go through the schemes of Telangana government. And recently inaugurated Buddhavana, right? Urban cities. And one more thing, Hyderabad is the only mega city or the city, urban city, which having the park, which having the enough spaces for the parks, right? So no other city in India has the urban parks, right? So these are the example you need to quote directly in your answers, right? Okay, the people who are writing UPSC also, right? If you quote these things, it what you can say segregates what you can say from the others. Others are what you can say just normally they're framing the answer just requirement. If you quote this live example or the examples which are what you can say observed by you, it fetches you the more marks, right? And classification of the pollutants, what are the primary and secondary. They're like the primaries are nothing but what you can say we are already available or what you can directly emitted. The secondary pollutants are nothing but what you can say with the reaction of other, they are what you can say emitted, right? You can see next the primary pollutants are emitted directly from the source, like what you can say from the vehicular pollution or the factory pollution. These are the primary pollution. Secondary is nothing but they either found by the atmospheric transformation of the primary pollutant or the other chemicals. Maybe they are formed from the atmospheric transformation, or else what you can say formed what you can say other chemicals also. This is see the screen clearly. You can or clearly understand the what you can say what are the primary pollutants or the what are the secondary pollutants, right? So clearly just go through the things, right? There is no hurry. We have ample time, right? So, what are the primary pollutants and the what you can say secondary pollutants? Just remember, primary pollutants are nothing but direct sources, maybe from the vehicular pollution, factory pollution, right? And the secondary, they are more like chemical. Remember this as from the chemical reactions, acidic rain, ozone. O3 is nothing but ozone, right? Yeah, right. Right. According to their existence in the nature, so we have the quantitative pollutants and qualitative pollutants, right? And what are the quantitative is nothing but already. quantitative is nothing but already presented in the environment. Qualitative in the sense we are adding to the environment, right? So you can see the substance which are already present in the environment, but us are termed as the pollutants when they concentrate concentrated or the concentration quality increases in the environment, right? So they are present. If more and more increasing in the pollution, then they termed as the what you can say quantitative pollutant. What are the qualitative in the sense which are not normally present in the environment but added by the human activities or the human beings or pollutant naturally. So next you can see like understood, right? What is quantitative is nothing but they are already present in the environment. What is qualitative in the sense we are adding due to the human activities, right? It is added to the environment. Clear? Next. So you have the uh, biodegradable pollutants, non-biodegradable pollutants. Biodegradable, nothing but which is degradable in the nature. Non-degradable in the sense you can take the example of plastics, all the things, like right. So I will show the example, right. So the pollutant which are decomposed by the natural process or the domestic waste, or it is called biodegradable. The pollutant which does not decompose naturally or decomposes slowly. A plastic, best example is non-biodegradable is plastic, right? Yeah. So you can see biodegradable waste and non-biodegradable waste. Clear? So in this way, everything we segregated the example. So with the example, you can remember easily. And in the UPSC, the more the people are in a what you can say notion that they will have to read more information rather than if you read few information, try to what you can say analyze the information. So in this way, you can develop analytical thinking. UPSC want the people or they want to catch the young aspirant to more analytical thinking. What you can say will be useful in answer writing as well, and their way of what you can say administrating the what you can say the district or the administrative activities. So analytical thinking is very important. Right? So if you read something, try to analyze the things whether it's working or not. For example, take a government scheme. As of latest government, Telangana's government scheme is Dalita Bandhu. Dalita Bandhu ఏంటి అసలు ఎందుకు ఇంప్లిమెంట్ ఇంప్లిమెంట్ చేస్తున్నారు ఓన్లీ దళిత బంధు అయినా నెక్స్ట్ ఆల్రెడీ వీ హ్యావ్ రైతు బంధు రైట్ సో ఓన్లీ దళిత బంధు అయినా మహిళా బంధు అని దట్స్ రైట్ మహిళా బంధు ఆర్ ఎల్స్ వృద్ధాప్య పెన్షన్స్ ఆల్రెడీ వస్తున్నాయి సో ఓన్లీ ఇన్ దిస్ వే యూ నీడ్ టు అనలైజ్ what is the significance of Raitu Bandhu? Is Raitu Bandhu is burden to the economy or what you can say beneficial for our economy. Only by the Raitu Bandhu is confined to what you can say backward people or the Dalits only. So in this way, you need to question yourself so that you can the answers will automatically will flow, right? So in this way, you need to analyze the things. Okay, right? Air pollution. So you know that Bhopal gas tragedy, how what you can say severe impact it is made. All more many thousands of people or in hundred they lost their lives and air pollution, all the things. Right? It is one of the example of the Bhopal gas tragedy. And you can see on the left of the screen and the right side. So the pollution levels are very high in what you can say Delhi. So I told you why we are taking the Delhi, and it is a national capital also. So right. So it is the first modern disaster, right? Equatorial smoke storm we call it as, right? And next. So as per the what you can say WHO, we have what you can say definition. Air pollution is the contamination of the indoor or outdoor environment by any chemical, physical, or biological agents that modify the natural character of the atmosphere. So as per the WHO, so when you are quoting previously, I told you to write a definition. So you can directly, according to the WTO, according to WHO, World Health Organization. So you can quote this, what you can say, definition. In this definition, they are simple. It is indoor or outdoor. When you adding, what you can say, or modifying the natural character of the atmosphere, it is called air pollution. Maybe it is physical, what you can say, physical agent, biological agent, or the chemical, any of them. Modifying the natural character, right? Normal ఉన్నదాన్ని దాన్ని మోడిఫికేషన్ అంటే ఏదన్నా లైక్ కెమికల్ గా కానీ ఫిజికల్ గా కానీ బయాలజికల్ గా యాడ్ చేస్తే దాన్ని ఎయిర్ పొల్యూషన్ అంటారు అని యాజ్ పర్ డబ్ల్యూహెచ్ఓ. నెక్స్ట్. So WHO data shows that almost all the global population of 99% breathe air that uh, ex, uh, exceeds WHO guidelines limit and contains high level of pollution, with the low and middle income countries suffering from the highest exposure. So here is almost 99%, right? For example, just assume that around the globe there is 100 crores population, right? Just remember, okay, India alone has 140 crores population. So just as an example, 100 crores population, right? So in that 99 crores are breathing polluted air only. Like as per the WHO guidelines, they are breathing polluted air only. So you can know what a sad reality, right? 99%, only mere 1%, maybe in the rural areas, or maybe the people, tribals who are living in the forest, they may have what you can say, breathing the fresh air, or else non-polluted. Other than that, other 99% of the people are breathing what we can say, or inhaling what polluted air only. So with the polluted air, they're breathing, their health will be severely impacted, and later on, their with the what you can say effect in health, they cannot work properly with the what you can say improper work. Their loss of employment will be seen. With the loss of employment, their income level will be falling. With the income level falling, the economic what you can say economic activity also will be decreasing. So the air pollution is also indirectly or directly have the severe impact on the human life, and as well as any economy. So it is very important for the not only for India but the global nations to mitigate the air pollution, or to look into that people should not be affected adversely, or severely impacted on the human life, right? So if human life is impacted, obviously it will be what you can say reflected on the economy, reflected on the nation, and reflected on the global population also, right? Yeah. Next, you can see, as per the nation United Nation environment program, right? So air pollution, which kills an estimated of 7 million people every year, is the biggest environmental risk of our time, right? So it is one of the stats. These stats can be used as a value addition in your answers, right? So almost estimated 7 million people every year, right, due to the air pollution, right? So next, right, what you can say, these types of air pollutant, nothing but gaseous and the solid form. This simple, just remember it. And oxide, oxide of sulfur. India becoming the world top sulfur dioxide emitter study. So what you can say with the sulfur dioxide, so you can see 15% of the global sulfur dioxide emissions. So first is India, and followed by Russia and China. So and you can see almost 4,586 what you can say kilotons per year, right? 15%. It is you can see how you on the red, these are the hotspots where the most of the this SO2, nothing but sulfur dioxide is emitted. Yeah. So why in the sense, we what you can say with the and industrial pollution, or what you can say all this huge rapid urbanization without proper plan, these are the main reasons for this, right? And next you can see these are the concentrated locations of power plants, right? So you can see northeast or the middle east regions, starting from the what you can say northern part of Odisha, Chhattisgarh, and the Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, some parts of, and in the first screen you can see West Bengal, Bihar, Jharkhand, right? So in this way, it is what you can say. Uh, uh, the pollution level or the sulfur dioxide concentration levels are increased. On you can see the end result. You can say India is on the top, right? So the natural sources. What are these is volcanic eruptions, hot springs, and next the what you can say the reactions of H2S with O2, nothing but oxygen. The hydrogen sulfide is released from the marshes and the region which is biological decay is taking place. Here is nothing but the huge amount of what you can say the hydrogen sulfide is released from in the marshes is nothing but more pollutant with the industries or with the industries which are not following the proper norms. These what you can say resulting into the huge air pollution, right? And the human sources, how the pollution in the sense they are burning the fossil fuels, right? Burning the fossil fuels and the coal-fired power stations or melting facilities. So that human activities day by day it is increasing air pollution. The major is the human what you can say these activities only. And one more thing, the people who are what you can say practicing answer writing, the quotes are very important. A very important quote, one of them related to environment is nothing but Mahatma Gandhi's, right? So uh, environment, our what you can say, everything available in the nature is for our need, not for our greed, right? So in this lines, not exact quote, I am mostly right. It is related to right, quoted by Mahatma Gandhi. It can be used when any actions related to environment, right? Nature, the things in the nature is what you can say, there for our need, but not for our greed, right? Yeah, yeah. Oxides of the nitrogen, right? Automobile engines, fossil fuels, combustion of these or atmospheric oxygen and nitrogen, lightning, and the microbial process fire emissions. So these are the main reasons behind what you can say nitrogen, the emissions of nitrogen. And in Indonesia, you can see red hot zone, right? These are situations where similar to Delhi, how the smog in the Indonesia, this situation, right? And India is a third. Uh, India has three out of the wall, 50 50 walls, 50 nitrogen emission hotspot, right? The latest Greenpeace analysis finds area in the Delhi, UP, MP, Odisha are the biggest contributors of nitrogen pollution, right? So when you take the data of what you can say, this Greenpeace, they clearly saying that what you can say, these almost what you can say, these areas in Delhi, UP, MP, and Odisha are the most polluted, and especially the emit more severe emitters of the nitrogen, right? And you can see six Indian metros are the hotspots of air pollution, air pollutant nitrogen oxide, Greenpeace. So when we talk about these, what you can say air pollution or these things that does not have effective, what you can say, that does not have what you can say effective uh, pollution norms. For example, you what you can say, that these India is the largest emitters of what you can say S42 or the sulfur dioxide, right? In this, of you know that India followed by Russia and China. But when you what you can say frame an initiative or the policies which what you can say control these S4 or what you can sulfur dioxide or S42, it will be what you can say slowly, or it can be in near future it can be shortened out, right? And next you can be seen. So at the beginning of the class, we discussed, right, what you can say, the composition of the air. There we seen that almost 78% of the air, what you can say, contains nitrogen, right? So in this way, if what you can say, the more amount of the air available in the atmosphere, it is nitrogen itself. So almost as per the emission, 52% in 1991 to it is increased to 69% in what you can say in 2011. So almost from last decade to this decade, it is 69% what you can say, the emission nitrogen emissions are increased. Wow, one of the highest contributors of this nitrogen emissions is agriculture. You know that almost 50% of the population, or what you can say, involved in the agriculture. So agriculture is the main what you can say emitter of nitrogen, and you are followed by you have the sewage and the burning of fossil fuels for the transportation or the industries or the power generation. These are the other reasons, but the first reason for the hydrogen is nothing, or like nitrogen emissions, is agriculture. You know that, right? So this just remember. And next thing, so these are the India's nitrogen air pollution map. The summary is nothing but how from the body can say how air pollution like PM 2.5 or the PM 10. PM is nothing. It is not related to Prime Minister, but particulate matter. So it is one of types of air pollution like PM 2.5 and PM uh, 10. So how it is what you can say impacting the human life, or what are the measures, or what are the contribution to the air pollution crisis in the New Delhi. So all the what you can say they given briefly in this, right? Just go through the things, nothing more than that. And Delhi annual average of in nitrogen levels way beyond the safety limits since 2013, as per the reports we discussed, right? First, also we mentioned about the Delhi. So here, nothing but when we compared with the other cities, Delhi is the most polluted because it is a landlocked, and you know that it is a capital of city. So most of the administration activities, all mostly like you can call it as concrete jungle, right? Very less scope for or the space for these what you can say green areas or the forest or the green cover, right? So in this way, you can directly relate how the Delhi will be worstly affected with this air pollution, right? Yeah, you can see the total. You know that greenhouse gases. So greenhouse gas are nothing but which are emitted. We can clearly call it as chlorofluorocarbons, right? Which are emitted from refrigerators, ACs especially. And one more thing about the ACs is that it should be always above 24 in a normal room temperature. If we, what you can say, add below than the 24 or 22% degrees Celsius, so the more it is harmful for the environment. Okay, to be precise, if AC Celsius is increasing, what you can say it will be decreasing of what you can say environment pollution, and at the same time your electricity bill also, right? So electricity the bill is a secondary, but if you want to what you can say use for the what you can say environmentally or eco-friendly, it should be minimum 24. It should not be less than that. If you decreasing it, obviously more of chlorofluorocarbons will be in what you can say releasing, and it is very harmful for what you can say ozone layer also, right? So with the duplication of ozone layer, the what you can the sun, it is very what you can say adverse impact on the what you can say human life. The sun rays will be directly falling on the human, so that it has what you can say huge uh, what you can say health impact. So in this way, the protecting ozone layer from the duplication is very important. Yeah, so that we need to what you can say, conserve or reduce the chlorofluorocarbons or the greenhouse gases, right? On the screen, you can see that, right? Next, India's per capita greenhouse gases emissions are far below from when compared to the world average, or far below world average. What you can say, UNEP reports. So when we talk about when we compared with the global per capita greenhouse gas emissions or the India's, because we have 140 crores population, so all the people may not use this. Hardly 20 to 30% of the people in India having the ACs. And okay, and in the summers mostly, right? So in this way, we can what I can say, when we compare with the global average, you can see India's is only 2.4 tons. What you can say, whereas in the global we have 6.3 tons, right? So the ton carbon dioxide equivalent, you can see on the screen, right? And next is followed by these are emissions of what you can say, total emissions or the per capita emissions. India is around the bottom of the world, and what is the world, and the US is the highest. You know that US, what you can say, developed country, and most of the those use the resources, and as per the stats, around 50 in the resources used by 100 people in India, and in US only one person will use it, right? So in India, the same resources will be used by 100 people, for example. So that is the reason, and the emissions levels, US is topped and followed by Russia and China, Brazil, Indonesia. Yeah, and these are just note, have what you can say, knowledge on this. If you, for example, in your answer writing, roughly you can draw the first two nations and the global average and India. Right, just first two nations is enough, and India place is important, and you have the world average. So in that you can put directly. Yeah. And next one, carbon CO2 emissions from the fuel consumption. So these are the, right. So from the transport it is 13%, agriculture 3%, buildings and industrial, it is covered by industries, and later on other sector, and electricity and heat, it is 41%. So orderly segregated how the CO2 is emitted, right? Right. Next, methane. So CH4 emissions are nothing but methane. Global methane assessment, right? So prior to discussing to it, we just finished the what you can say, CO2 emissions or the carbon dioxide emissions. After that, we discussed about nitrogen emissions, and after that, we had discussed about what you can say, greenhouse gases, and what are its impact on the environment, right? So just what you can say, go through the things. It is very important, and we are going step by step. What are the pollutions and what are the impact, everything, right? Next. So methane is the primary component of the natural gas. It is responsible for the more than 25% of the warming we are experiencing today. So, so methane is what you can say is one of the major reasons for the earth forming, or the most dangerous gas, right? So, and uh, from the methane agriculture, for the sea, this nitrogen emissions also, for the methane also, agriculture is the major contributor for this methane, right? Just give me a minute. Yeah. So simply, the methane is the gas that found in the small quantities in the environment, right? And uh, in 2019, there is a question related to the methane also. So it is what you can say. It is in the current trends also regarding the methane or the methane. Methane is a powerful greenhouse gas with a global warming potential more than 80 times greater than of carbon dioxide during the 20 years after it is released into the atmosphere. So when we take carbon dioxide, it is almost 80 times what have the potential of a global warming than what you can say carbon dioxide. Like methane has more 80 times more than of what you can say carbon dioxide on the global warming. Clear? So it is very dangerous gas. Methane is responsible for the around half of the growth in the trop, uh, tropospheric ozone formation or the dangerous air pollution. You know that what you can say troposphere, stratosphere, troposphere, or the levels, right? So where the ozone is situated in the tropospheric, what you can troposphere, there with the huge amount of methane emissions, you know the global warming. How global warming is nothing but what you can say increasing of these greenhouse gases, all this. It is what you can say duplicating the ozone layer. Duplicating of ozone layer, there is directly sunrise is falling on the earth, and when the sunshine is falling on what you can say on these polar ice cubes, it is fastly melting. You know that only 30% only very 1/3 of the land is available. Other 2/3 is water, right? So in this way, if the more what you can say this greenhouse gases or the methane is released, there is more global warming and impact on this ozone layer. And with the ozone layer depleting, there is vast impact on what you can say the sunshine falling directly on this polar ice, all these things. So it will be fastly melting. If it is fastly melting, the coastal areas will be submerged under the water, right? And we discussed if, as per the Paris Agreement, as per the Paris Peace Accord, all this, if the global temperature is increased by 2%, most of the coastal areas, including India, will be submerged in the water. As per the sources, the Maldives, and you know that is a very tourist destination, it will be also entire Maldives will be submerged under the water itself, right? So this is a very severe impact on the what you can say global countries itself, the coastal countries. You have Andhra Pradesh coastal areas, Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, right, Odisha, West Bengal. These all will be severely impacted. Northeastern states, right? Yeah. So you can see uh, tropospheric ozone is the major air or the climate pollutant. It causes the warming and highly reactive oxidant harmful to the crop production and the human health. So when the sunshine is directly falling on the crops or else what you can say on the human, it has a very adverse impact on the health and the crop production also. Right? Just go through the picture, right? Air pollution causes over 150,000 premature death every year, and what you can say million more chronic diseases on particularly in the child and the elderly. So I told you the air pollution has severe impact on the human life, right? If we the humans want to have what you can say this more life expectancy, all these things or these things, the air pollution need to be reduced or the minimized or the mitigated with the help of the government policies initiative and along with the people's participation, right? Yeah. Next, International Methane Emission Observatory launched at the G20 summit, and you know the G7, G8 or the G20 is nothing but along with the few European countries or the what you can say the permanent members. developed countries, and other third world countries also including Aus- Australia, India, South America. So these all countries will be included in the G20. The International Methane Emission Observatory is data driven or the action based initiative by the UN Environmental Program with the support from the European Commission to what you can say catalyze this dramatic reduction of the methane emissions starting with the energy sector. So it is observatory. What is the main causes behind the more emissions of the methane? How to control the methane emission? The alternate for the methane, everything will be seen by this international methane emission observatory. Clear? And this is the global methane, what you can say, global methane pledge. It is nothing but given the forum, which is what you can say, with the help of United Nations Environment Program or the Climate and Clean Area, climate and Clean Air coalition here. And the main agenda of this is to what you can say, to reduce the methane emissions. And it is, that it is the main agenda of the global methane pledge is nothing but to reduce the methane emission. If the methane is reduced, obviously, the methane emission is reduced, obviously, what you can say, more of what you can say, emissions will be controlled, or the global warming will be controlled. So that with the control of global warming, the the duration of ozone layer will be lesser or the mitigated, and the what you can say, the sunshine will not fall directly on what you can say, on these polar ice cubes, all these icebergs, all these things. So there will be what you can, slowly it will be reducing the speed of melting. So with that, the coastal areas will be on the safer side, right? So in this way, with the global methane, right? So with the reduction of methane, it is very useful, or the advantages for the global nations. Clear? And it is led by United Nations and European Union, right? So European Union, nothing but the few, what you can say, what you can say, the group of European countries. Yeah, yeah. And it has one, the global methane pledge is as taken by 111 countries who together responsible for the 45% of the global human caused methane emission. So what you can, the party almost 111 countries has participated, who what you can say, amounts for almost 45% of the methane emissions, right? And though India is not part of the global methane emissions, and well, you know that it is not participated. India is not participated in the global methane pledge, but what you can say, it is what you can, one of the highest top contributors of or emissions of these methane. And we also talked the methane emissions, especially from India or from the agriculture itself. Here, both nitrogen emissions and the methane emissions from the agriculture itself. Clear? Yeah. And with the main agenda is that what you can, the countries committed to work together in order to collectively reduce the methane emission at least 30% below 2020 levels by 2030. So the first, the main aim is to reduce the methane emissions, and the major agenda is to what you can say, to reduce methane emissions by 30%, below 2020 levels by 2030. Right? Clear? Yeah. Next. Same. So what we entirely discuss is part of this, right? Just go through it. So what we discussed, you can see on the second point, right? Commit to work together in order to collectively reduce the global anthropogenic methane emission across the sector by at least 30% below 2020 levels by 2030. Just what we had discussed just now, right? It is a major agenda. And what you can say next, you can see commit to take comprehensive domestic actions to achieve that goal, focusing on the standards to achieve all the feasible what you can say feasible reductions in the energy and the waste sector, and seeking the what you can say of agriculture emissions through the technology innovations as well as in incentive incentives and the partnership with the farm. So how you know that most of the methane emissions from the agriculture, so agriculture in the sense farming, right? So if the farmers is compromised, it may impact the food production, right? Or the what you can say food production. So if food production already we are facing this food security issue, so how will the farmers will be compromised? So here the global methane pledge is saying that instead of compromising the farmers, then the technological upgradation is needed in the farming so that they will what you can say cut short or the compromise on the methane. Instead they use the technology, right? The pollution levels or the pollution of the methane or the methane emissions will be mitigated with the use of technology, right? Yeah. And one more thing about the technology in the sense in the global across the global globe what you can say across the global nations, most of the farmers are educated except in India. In the foreign nations, they most of the farmers having the degree in their agriculture field or the farming or horticulture or something, any other what you can say field or related to farming. But in India, if you're farmer, mostly you are uneducated, right? Okay, with the increasing in the trend with the organic food or with the specifications of the food, the what you can say the people who are highly educated or the maybe from the engineering background or these people are turning into the farmers, right? Or the organic farming or the without chemical food or the chemical free food or nothing but organic farming, right? So they are interested day by day they're coming. But in India there is a notion that if you are uh, unfit for the study, just go for the farm, right? So the farming, it is not about you can say the as of foreign nations is combined. Those people have the degree in their one of the agriculture fields, right? So in India, it is neglected. If you are unfit for the studies, go for the farming, right? It is the wrong approach, right? For example, in what you can say Ireland, where what you can say the schooling model they framed or their approach is very different. For example, in the morning they have the classes for their what you can say in a more innovative way. Evening they have the practical what you can say practicals evening. For example, they have the subject on the farming in the sense of morning section they will go through the what you can say all the concepts, and evening afternoon post lunch they need to do the same work in the field. So that is the level of adoption or what you can say practical approaches practice in the foreign nations, and it should be implemented in India as well. More of practical knowledge it is gained, it will be lost for the long or it will be more useful for the individuals than the bookish knowledge. Yeah, yeah. Next. So these are the most 10 countries which are what you can say uh, pollutant. You can see 10 countries. The Australia on so first is we can have China, Russia, India, US, Brazil, and the Pakistan also in the list. Right? Just go through the this thing. We million tons of methane. So we already discussed the agriculture or the wetlands and the energy sector, the waste management and the others, and biomass burning. These are the major sources of the methane emission. Right. And agriculture accounts for this all like methane emissions, while India's energy sector accounts for the 16% and the waste around the 19%. Right. So in the global methane tracker in 2022, so these are agriculture followed by your energy, waste sector and the energy sector. By curbing methane emission is crucial to fighting climate change. I told you why the methane emissions is controlled, so that it is will be reducing the greenhouse gases or the global warming. How the global warming is everything. See, in an environment, we can directly relate these two. What you can say, what you can say, ecology and economy, right? This ecology and ecology and economy should be hand in hand, so that it will prosper for the human life as well as climate or the environment, right? So if you want to, what you can say, more activities, it should be more of sustainable farming or something like the organic farming, which is what you can say, more help will be gained from the, what you can say, nature itself. Instead, if you use more chemical based farming, something like that, the field will be losing its soil will be losing its fertility, all these things, right? The particulate pollutants, right? So there is two types of particulate pollutants. They viable and non-viable. And next, this is right. So discuss in detail the photochemical smog, emphasizing its formation efforts and mitigation. Explained the 1919 Bethenham Protocol. So here, the question is about photochemical smog. So we Delhi smog in the sense, mostly we observe in the Delhi. So what are its, what you can say, implications? How it is formed? What are its effects? And what are the mitigation, or the what are the solution to stop, what you can say, reduce these smog? All these things. Next we can discuss, right? What smog day? It is October, like December 5th, 2007, first International Smog Day, a movement to remember all of the people who had died prematurely and avoidably because of air pollution. So just remember, December 5th is considered as the International Smog Day, right? Smog day is also what you can say, gives us a chance to advance the visions of the world in which the air is fit to breathe. So just it marked as a remembrance for the death of, what is a premature death of the people who, due to the air pollution, right? So the Great Smog of 1952, for the 5 days in December 1952, the Great Smog of London smoothed the city and killed thousands of the people. Right. Next picture we can see. This is Great Delhi Smog of October 2016 may have caused the deaths. Right. So here, in November 2016, the Great Delhi Smog, we can call them, the event which have took most of the lives, right? The types of smog: winter smog or summer smog. The winter smog is very dangerous, especially as of now. You can see in Delhi, the people are living in the Delhi. You can see that, right? Yeah. The sulfurous smog, or also known as London smog, develops due to the high concentration of the sulfur dioxide in the air. This air is a serious air pollutant, causing irri- irritation to the irritation to the human eyes, nose, and the lungs. It is released into the air by the sulfur-bearing fossil fuels like coal. Volcanoes also emit the sulfur dioxide in the atmosphere. So when what is winter smog is nothing but, it is also known as London smog, right? It is the due to develop high concentration of sulfur dioxide. It is very harmful for the health, right? It causes the irritation in the eyes, nose, or the lung. When we breathe, it is obviously impacting the lungs, right? Like it is primarily by the phenomena of temperature inversion. The temperature inversion is nothing but when the concentration of high levels of pollution in the atmosphere, right? Increasing the concentration of SO2 in the winter reacts with the atmospheric water vapor, forms H2SO4, right? And those making the smog acidic, right? With the, what you can say, SO2 in the winter reacts with the atmosphere water vapor, it will forms S2SO4, which what you can say makes, or what you can say, it makes into smog acidic. Clear? And you can see the difference in September, it is normal. In October, it is almost. So it is November, next year, summer will be in the peak. Yeah, yeah. And this is summer smog. It is also known as photochemical smog, produced when the sunlight reacts with the mixture of what you can say hydrocarbons, oxides of the nitrogens, at least one volatile volatile organic compound in the atmosphere. Right? As a result, they can make a brownish urge that can be seen above the city, usually in the summer's month when there is a lot of sun. Right? You can when we talk about the winter, you can see the smog is what you can say. It is like a thick blanket on what you can say on the atmosphere. But when it coming to the summer's smog, it is photochemical. So when the sunlight is reacted with these hydrogens or the oxides of the nitrogen, it is forms one volatile of organic compound, right? Yeah. సో సింపుల్ గా ఇక్కడ కంగారు పడాల్సిన అవసరం ఏం లేదు. జస్ట్ గో త్రూ ద డెఫినేషన్ నీట్ గా చదివి అది అర్థమై రాస్తే చాలు, రైట్? ద సమ్మర్ వింటర్ స్మాగ్ కి సమ్మర్ స్మాగ్ కి డిఫరెన్స్ ఏంటి అంటే సమ్మర్ స్మాగ్ వచ్చేసి ఇట్ ఈస్ డే లైట్, రైట్? సన్లైట్ రియాక్టింగ్ విత్ ద హైడ్రోకార్బన్స్ ఆర్ ద నైట్రోజన్స్, whereas winter smog it is like high levels of concentration of these nitrogens, all these, right? Yeah. You have the primary and secondary pollutant. We already discussed it. Just go through these things. The primary pollutants include the volatile organic compounds or the nitrogen oxides. When they react with the sunlight, they create secondary. We already discussed the primary అంటే ఏంటి, direct అని, secondary అంటే indirect. Just remember, primary is directly, secondary is nothing but primary is created and what you can say reaction with the sunlight is from the create the secondary pollutant, meaning the ozone at the ground level, other harmful component like nitrates. This is the what you can say solar radiation. Just go through the picture. It is you can be clearly observe what is the photochemical smog, all these things, right? Yeah. And we discuss, you know, that our the layers of atmosphere, right? We have troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere, right? And ozone will be what you can place it in your shadow, right? So this is London smog, and so there is a quote also. Just go through the quote. Love is in the air, but the air is highly polluted. Let's stop polluting the So stopping the pollution is the best solution. So for the stopping the pollution, the government, international organization, all are what you can say, planning their own what you can say initiatives, taking their initiatives and the measures to mitigate this air pollution, right? Yeah. And we discussed, right, nothing but volatile organic compound or the compound that have the high water vapor pressure and the low water solubility. Nothing, just remember high vapor pressure and low water solubility, right? Organic chemical compounds that evaporate easily at the room temperature. Just remember this. Yeah. And VOCs, typically or industrial solvents such as what you can just go through this and the methane, MPBT, or the byproducts produced by the chlorination in water treatment such as the chloroform, right? Often the VOCs are often components of the petroleum fuels, hydrochloric fluids, or the paint thinners, or the dry cleaning agents, right? Or the common groundwater contamination. So it is VOCs or the volatile organic compounds or the groundwater, the common due to this groundwater pollution, it is all contaminating with the groundwater also, right? And groundwater, most of the agriculture in India uses the groundwater or the borewells, right? Yeah. And what is greenhouse? And you can see the first you have Kyoto Protocol, and the Kyoto Protocol is nothing but international treaty, what you can say, under this UNFCCC, nothing but United Nations framework on Convention of Climate Change, right? So it is adopted in 1997 and in Kyoto, or the city in the Japan, right? It is coming to force in 2005, right? And it is nothing but the main agenda is to fight the what you can say global warming by reducing the greenhouse gas concentrations, right? The main agenda of the Kyoto Protocol is to reduce the greenhouse gases, right? And the Kyoto Protocol covers the categories of greenhouse gases of six categories: carbon dioxide, methane, nitrate, nitrous oxide, like hydrofluorocarbons, or like what sulfuric acid, fluorides, right? These are the six SF6, right? So these are the six what you can say gases or the greenhouse gas emissions covered under this, right? And next way you can see levels of carbon, methane, N2O, hydrofluorocarbons, right? Aluminium productions, methane, all this, right? So for the carbon dioxide, we have the coal or the crude oil and fossil fuel consumption, natural gas system for this methane and the line slips, agriculture, right? For the carbon dioxide, agriculture, soil management, these are right. These are the causes. And greenhouse gas effect, right? Nothing but it will be mostly severe impact on the ozone layer, and if the ozone layer is duplicated, it will be what you can say having direct sun sunlight on these what you can say polar ice caps or the polar icebergs, so that it fastly will be melting, and what you can say the coastal areas will be submerged under the water, right? And the greenhouse gases for this, just right, you can see incoming solar radiation, outgoing infrared energy, right? And you can see emitted IR or the infrared radiation, and observed what you can say infrared radiation. Just the these all is nothing but just go through it. Nothing but greenhouse gases such as water vapor or the CO2 or the strong observer of infrared radiation, or the poor observer of sun visible radiation, right? So when we talk about the greenhouse gases as a water vapor or it is a strong observer of infrared radiation, but the poor observer of sun visible radiation, right? And as of these gases observed, IR is nothing but infrared radiation. From the Earth's surface, they gain Ke, right? And when these gases, what you can say, molecule these energy with the what you can say oxygen and nitrogen, they are the poor observer of infrared radiation. We already discussed, right? This oxygen or nitrogen or the poor observer of this. The pollution of increases the overall energy of the air, which result in increasing the temperature. So clearly they mentioned in the incoming solar radiation, outgoing infrared radiation, right? So with this you can understand clearly. Yeah, ozone layer and the ozone hole, right? We discussed what is ozone layer, and the ozone hole is nothing but the increasing of what you can say increasing of more of a pollution or more of what you can say all these activities, uh, global warming or the greenhouse gas activities, it is vastly impacting or creating duplication of ozone layer. So it is like creating a hole so that the sunlight will direct fall may fall on the these on the earth, with the human health, polar ice icebergs will be melting, and the human health will be uh, heavily impacted, all this, right? Ozone layer is not technically a ozone hole is not technically hole where no ozone is present, but it is actually a region of exceptionally what you can say, depleted ozone in the stratosphere over the Antarctic, and that happens at the beginning of the southern hemisphere of the spring, August to October. So it is not a hole, but the depletion, nothing but on the ozone layer, there is small area, right? You can see on this what you can say. Yeah. In 1990s, there is a only right with the increasing of development or towards more developmental activities. You can see in 96 and next year in 2000 and next in 2010, right? So these are the area you can see in the Antarctic region. It is southern hemisphere, right? Yeah. So what is southern and the northern hemisphere? The below equator is southern hemisphere, and above equator is northern hemisphere. Clear? So India falls on, right? Clear. And you can see this F CFC is nothing but chlorofluorocarbons has been phased out, and why this you can see as per the scientific assessment panel, one of these three assessment panels under the Montreal Protocol. Here, Montreal Protocol is what you can say for this duplication to reduce or to withhold or to mitigate the depletion of ozone layer, right? The presence of greenhouse gases such as these other pollutant in the stratosphere or impacting the ozone layer depletion. Right? Will the ozone layer ever get back its to normal level? So the scientist estimates that the hole in the ozone layer will be more by 2060s. With the more level of these developmental activities, more of people or greenhouse gas impact, or else emission of more of chlorofluorocarbons, all these things will be have the severe impact on the ozone layer. So the greenhouse gases or the temperature changes or the global warming, all the affects the dynamics and the chemical process in the atmosphere, impacting the recovery process in the other parts of the stratosphere. The ozone layer recovery is expected to be earlier. So, in the during the lockdown, there is a very good about data that with the level of no activities done in this COVID last 20 almost from 2022 almost 9 to 12 months. There is no what you can say activity. Most of the people stayed in the lockdown. In that what you can say in that period of 9 months to 12 months, there is what you can say recovery of the ozone layer. Nothing but the duplication is reduced, or the what you can say the ozone layer is what you can say recovering into a normal, right? So here there is a clear that with the reduction in the pollution or reduction of greenhouse, lesser reduction what is reduction of this greenhouse gases, it will be advantages for the global this ozone layer recovery. Clear? This is the Vienna Convention for the ozone protection of ozone layer, right? Was the first convention of any kind to be signed by every country involved, taking its effect into 1998 and reaching universal ratification in 2009. Right. Montreal, I have already discussed it, is the first thing we what you can say to reduce the duplication of what you can say ozone layer. On the substance that duplicates the ozone layer is the global agreement to protect the its ozone by phasing out the chemical that duplicating it. Right. And and it is a landmark agreement signed in 1987 and entered into force in 1989. So, first, this Kyoto, first, this Montreal Protocol is nothing but just simple గా గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి. Ozone duplication or ozone layer damage కాపాడడానికి or the production of ozone layer, it is formed. Clear? And it is was signed, agreement is signed in 1987 and form or into force in 1989. Just remember the years, it is very. And Kigali amendment. And here the Kigali's agreement is nothing but the ozone layer ఎలా duplicating అవుతుంది, nothing but first the more emissions of greenhouse gases, and greenhouse gases లో highest contribution ఏది chlorofluorocarbons. సో ఆ క్లోరోఫ్లోరోకార్బన్ ని రిప్లేస్మెంట్ చేస్తూ హైడ్రోఫ్లోరోకార్బన్స్ యూజ్ చేయొచ్చు అని ద కిగాలి amendment. Is Kigali what you can say amendment is nothing but replace the chlorofluorocarbons by the hydrofluorocarbons, right? So that is simple, as simple as that. Clear? And Rio Earth Summit 1992, and it is the Agenda 21 or the Rio Declaration, the Forest Principle, CBD, the what you can say, biodiversity, and UNFCCC, nothing but United Nations Framework on Conventions of Climate Change and United Nations, the Convention on the Climate on the Desert, right? So the full form is nothing but just remember United Nations Framework on the Conventions of Climate Change. Clear? And Kyoto Protocol we arrived. Firstly, we discussed it is nothing but firstly it is what you can say on the principles of these the under the principles of common but differentiated responsibilities and respective capabilities, right? So just go through it. It is what you can say adopted in 1997. Owing to the uh, complex ratification process, it is entered into force on 16th February 2005. Currently, there are 192 parties to the Kyoto Protocol, right? And operationalizes these UNFCC by committing the industrialized and economies in transition to limit and reduce greenhouse gases in accordance with the agreed individual targets, right? Just remember the main agenda: common principles or the principle common but differentiated responsibilities and respective capabilities. Clear? Yeah. And these are the same six were previously we discussed, right? Carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, hydrofluorocarbons, right? Paris Agreement, very important. We discussed, right? So these are the agendas. Limit the average global temperature increases to less than 2 degrees centigrade, or the target net zero emissions by the mid century. So the global average temperature should be well below the 2.5%. It should not be more than 1.5% to be precise, right? And enhance the resilience and adoption to the climate impact impact the sudden to occur, and the financial flows in the world with the other objectives. Clear? Okay. Government of India initiative. You know that these are the government of India initiatives taking the what all these things, right? So, National Clean Air Program. It is what you can say uh, by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, right? So these are the guidelines or the guidelines for the indoor. These are the objectives: indoor air pollution monitoring stations, air information centers for the data analysis, resource appointment studies, set up the national inventory, and public participation on the planning and implementation, and what you can say city specific plan for the 100 polluting cities. All these are the what you can say objectives or the framework for this national clean air, right? And it is what you can say for the National Clean Air, what you can say, it is launched in January 2019, right? And the main agenda of this is to achieve 20 to 30% reduction targets in the particulate matters, nothing but PM concentration by 2024, right? Just remember what you can say the achieving the main agenda of this National Clean Air program is nothing but what you can say reduce achieving the reduction of particulate matter targets by 20 to 30% by 2024. Clear? Yeah. And next action plan, right? These are knowledge and database augmentation, and next is your what you can say mitigation action and insurance institutional strengthening. So why institutional strengthening? In the sense, the framework itself, it should be channelized in such a way that each and every resources, or they need to know what they are doing and how they are doing. Right? Yeah. Next is your tenure. How, what are the objectives? The stringent implementation of the mitigation measures for the prevention and control of this abatement of air pollution. The augment and strengthened air quality management network across the country is very important, and the target, or what you can say, the main agenda we discussed already, right? And the approach, the multi-sectoral or the collaborative mainstreaming, these all just go through. Use the smart city framework to launch the national clean air program in 43 smart cities, falling in the list of 102 non-attainment cities. Clear? Yeah. And next, these are just go through this. The center has set up a new target of 40% reduction in the particular matter concentration, or the PM concentration in the cities covered under these things, and adopting the earlier goal of 20 to 30% reduction by 2024. Right? Yeah. This is, and this after what you can say, the what you can say, launching this national and a clean air program, the government can come up with this monitoring, right? The Central Pollution Control Board executing a national wide program of abatement, air quality monitoring, known as air National Air Quality Monitoring Program. The network consists of a 804 operating system covering 334 towns and in 28 states and 6 UTs, right? So it will monitor what you can say, air quality, how the quality of air there with respect to the objectives is determine the status and trends of this air quality, and these are the what you can say pollutant covers under the sulfuric acid NO2, or this PM10 or the PM2.5, and this is air quality index. So after what you can say monitoring the air, right? First we have the National Air Clean Air Program, Air Clean Program, and late next air monitoring program. So after monitoring air, we need to place accordingly, right? So we have the National Air Quality Index. So it is managed by, you can see, National Pollution Control Board under the Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change. Clear? So these are 0 to 50, it is good, 50 to 100 satisfactory, 100 to 200 moderate, 200 to poor, 300 to 400 very poor, 400 to 500 is very the severe, right? So these are the 8 pollutants covered under air quality index. Clear? Yeah. And BS6. So I hope you know that, right? First we have the first National Clean Air Program. Next, we have what you can say, after framing all this to monitor or target of the reduction of 30 to 40% of this particular matter by what you can say 2024, right? After these launching this initiative, later on we have launched, or what you can say, the air monitoring program. With the air monitoring, after monitoring, we need to segregate as per the what you can say standards, right? So that is the reason we launched this National Air Quality Index. As per the index, we are placing the cities as per this good, satisfactory, all these things, right? And next, we have the BS6 standards. Here, BS6 is standards is nothing but vehicles previously we are using before what you can say last year, or the before 2020, we used to use BS4. So as per the government rules, we need to use, or the government adopted this BS6 so that it is less pollutant and advanced, so that it will mitigate the air pollution. So Bharat State BS is nothing but Bharat State emission standards are laid down by the government to regulate the output of the air pollution for the internal combustion of engine and spark ignite engine equipment, including the motor vehicles. The central government has mandated the vehicle makers must manufacture, sell, and register only BS6 vehicles from April 1, 2020. So, to be precise, the vehicles after from the January 2020 itself, all the vehicles are from BS6 only, right? So, Delhi NCRT grabs the use of non-BS6 diesel vehicles over 3 lakhs. So the BS other than the BS6 vehicles are banned. 3 lakhs vehicles are banned in Delhi. Yeah, right. These are the stages. So these are the emission levels, all these things. So why we are jumped directly into BS6 in the sense the pollution levels will be reduced so that it is advantageous, or what you can say, adding a step towards what you can say mitigating air pollution. So this is the class. I hope you have gone uh, should go through the class slowly, or patiently go through this almost 1 hour long, more than 1 hour. So each and every topic we discussed in this very clear, right? Don't be in a hurry. మీరు ఏం టిఎస్పిసి గ్రూప్ 1 మెయిన్స్ ఏం కావాలో ఎన్వైరన్మెంట్, ఎయిర్ పొల్యూషన్ టాపిక్ లో అన్ని క్లియర్ గా దీంట్లో ఉన్నాయి, రైట్? ఇంక్లూడింగ్ మధ్య మధ్యలో నేను ఏం చేశానంటే ఆన్సర్ రైటింగ్ ఏంటి అవి కూడా రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఎక్కడ ఏం రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఉందో అవన్నీ చెప్పాను, క్లియర్. అండ్ ప్లీజ్ గో త్రూ ద వీడియో క్లియర్లీ. స్కిప్ చేసి అర్థం కాలేదు అంటే మన లైక్ వి కాంట్ డూ ఎనీథింగ్, రైట్? జస్ట్ గో త్రూ ద వీడియో. థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్.